Hello, everyone, and thank you for attending the Behavioral Perspective Virtual Job Fair event. I would like to introduce you to Tammy. Tammy will tell you about her company, job openings, and how to apply for those openings. Tammy?
Thank you, Daniel, for that introduction. Very excited to be sharing a little bit about our company, what we do, and maybe get some potential candidates for our open positions. So we are Behavioral Perspective, Inc. We started in the suburbs of Chicago in Aurora, Illinois, was our first clinic location, and we've expanded a bit over to different states and different regions and kind of all over Illinois. So it's been an exciting journey. We can get started on the next slide now. So we're gonna try out this video here. So if you wanna go ahead and play the video, it tells us a little bit more about us, our value, our mission, and everything like that. I don't know, Daniel, if you're able to click anywhere. If not, not a big deal. There should be like a link to get to YouTube, but.
Yeah, I actually have the video pulled up here. If you give me one moment, I'll stop the screen share and put it up on screen for you.
Perfect.
See that? Are you able to see that, Tammy?
I sure am. Go ahead and play.
Fantastic.
Perspective started in 2010. Originally, it was just myself and a handful of people. We now have over 100 employees and service over 100 families.
When someone first calls here, the first person they get on the phone is someone that has a child on the spectrum. They're talking to someone who knows what they're going through because it is very emotional, and they could have just received a diagnosis and they don't know what to do.
We spend a lot of time on the front end getting to know the families to make sure everybody knows what they're signing up for. Because ABA is not the same as speech therapy, occupational therapy. Everybody has a different focus.
Applied behavior analysis is really the science and understanding of behavior. So we view everything as behavior. Some behaviors we want to increase: communication, play skills, self-help, any type of academic skills. And then there's behaviors we want to decrease: tantrums, aggression, self-injury. So we really target all of those behaviors and then use different teaching methodologies to either increase positive behaviors or decrease negative behaviors.
Language is the primary focus because many times children are engaging in those behaviors because they don't have a functioning language. If we can't get the child long enough for where we would recommend, then making sure we're going to school and educating them on how to run it. Making sure we're going into the home to train families on how to run those programs too, because the continuity of care is the most important, because it doesn't matter what the child's able to do when we're there if they can't do it when we're not there.
They need to learn functional skills. They need to learn what a fork, knife, and spoon is. They need to know things in their house. One of the things we focus on in all of our programs, whether it be a child that's verbal, nonverbal, 2 years old, 18 years old, is what we're teaching useful and functional and going to help them be independent.
I've always been interested in working with those kids that sort of nobody's been able to reach, figure out what makes them tick, figure out how can we teach them skills that they need, because they're all so smart and it's really just breaking through to them.
Okay, so that was, I love that video. It really sums up what we do, where we've come from, how we make a difference, kind of what ABA is. So we can jump back to the PowerPoint whenever you have a chance, Daniel.
Yeah, one moment here. Sorry about that.
No problem. And as you can probably see, we work with a lot of different ages. We have a lot of younger clients, as well as older as well. We've had clients even in their early 20s. And like our CEO was talking about, we really just want to help anyone we possibly can, even the ones that maybe are a little bit more difficult to work with or have more severe behaviors. We really aim to help anyone and everyone that we can. So that's why we're always looking for staff, and we're providing quality training so that we can prepare our staff to work with these clients and provide quality services as well. We can jump to the next slide. You could even go to the next one. Perfect, perfect. So some of our philosophies, just a little bit more about ABA specifically. I'm sure very few people have heard of ABA unless you are in like a psychology field or an applied behavior field. This is effective with everyone across the lifespan. We specifically use applied behavior analysis with children and individuals with autism, but it can be used with other disabilities and in other settings as well. And then across the lifespan, like I said, we've had clients in their early 20s, and then our youngest clients are 2.5 years old. They were just freshly diagnosed with autism and are just starting to receive services. So a little bit more about ABA. Motivation is the key to success with this. We're really trying to learn a lot about the child, their strengths, what their preferences are, because that's going to propel them in their learning. It's going to help them meet their goals more quickly if they're motivated and excited. I mean, just in any classroom or in anything you do, if you are having fun, if you are enjoying what you're doing, if you are being reinforced and given different items that are going to reinforce and motivate you, then you're more likely to be paying attention and learning and excited through what you're doing. So then the reinforcement that we're using, especially if you're in any kind of psychology field, you've probably heard of like positive reinforcement. So we're wanting to use positive reinforcement, whatever reinforcement we can, to strengthen those appropriate behaviors. So with ABA, we're trying to decrease inappropriate, unwanted behaviors, and in the process, increase the appropriate behaviors by using those reinforcers, by reinforcing those appropriate behaviors, whether it's a verbal reinforcement, great job, you're doing awesome, or giving them an actual physical reinforcement of some kind, like goldfish or their favorite toy or their favorite movie or video on YouTube. And then we are a multidisciplinary team. Behavioral perspective is what that means is we also have speech and occupational therapy at most of our clinics. So what's really great is that we can collaborate with all of these other disciplines and work with them and be on the same page. We can discuss what we're working on, what the client's goals are, so we can incorporate similar goals and programming into what they're doing, whether it's in ABA, speech, or OT. And then I like to have this quote in here at the bottom. I think it really applies to our company and the field we're in and how we're providing these services. So if they don't learn the way we teach, we're going to teach the way they learn. This is not, we don't just have one program. We don't just teach everyone the same thing. We're going to modify it to the client's age, their skill level, what their needs are, and figure out how we can best service these clients. You can jump to the next slide. So here it says a little bit more about the opportunities in ABA. So this first one here, an RBT, a registered behavior technician. This is an entry-level position. You start out as a behavior technician if you don't already have the training to be an RBT. The education requirement is just being 18 years or older with a completed high school degree, a GED, and then you obtain the actual credential through 40 hours of online training and then taking an exam. With our company, we provide the 40 hours of online training. We set you up with an account. We set you up with the courses that you need to complete online, and it is also all paid. So that's another huge benefit. We provide you with all this training and we pay you to do it all, and we also reimburse for the fee for the exam. So 18 years or older, must have a completed high school degree, and then with our company, we provide you with all of the training then to become an official registered behavior technician. And then the job duties that come along with this position. So you are implementing programming, ABA programming, one-on-one with the client. So which with any of our clients, we match you guys up dependent on hours and scheduling and availability. And then you work with these clients on various different skills. It looks very different from client to client. It's individualized towards their age, their needs. So you could be working on improving their communication skills, improving their social skills. Another big one is just daily life skills, activities of daily life. So it could be different routines throughout the day. You could be working on maybe chores around the home, We do in-home and in-clinic services, so there is definitely a benefit to each one depending on the client, but in-home, it's really great. They can get that natural environment. They can work on morning or nighttime routines, different hygiene routines, doing chores that the family wants them to be independent in. And then the clinic is also great because they can get that collaborative environment. They can work with their peers, still one-on-one with their behavior technician, but then we're implementing maybe more like social skills and working alongside their peers. So it's a lot of different types of programs. I could talk on and on about all the possibilities of what types of programming and learning these individuals could be having and using in their programming. It's very individualized towards the client, very dependent on their age. Since I did say we have such a wide variety of age ranges, each client could be working on something completely different. And then I added this in here also, the BCBA position, because if you decide to go into the field of ABA, there is plenty of room to grow. If you decide to go back to school and further your career in ABA, you can get a master's in applied behavior analysis. And with this position, you would be the one who is assessing the client. So you meet with the family and the clients before they start services with us. You assess their needs, you create their programming, and then you are the one that then supervises and trains the RBT. So as an RBT, you have a BCBA who guides you, trains you on all of the programming, tells you about any modifications, provides you ongoing training. And then, like I said, if you decide to continue your education, get your master's in ABA, there is a position in the same field. So you could be the one actually creating these clients' programming. Okay, ready for the next slide. And then just a little bit more about what we do. Some of this I already mentioned, but providing ABA therapy, which is applied behavior analysis, to individuals with ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder. The spectrum, as you may have heard before, is very, very wide. So we get clients of all different backgrounds, different behaviors, different skill levels, all dependent. I mean, regardless of their age, they could be more higher functioning or lower functioning. And then we do in clinic, in home. We've also gone into schools before. Right now, it's not as common, but we have gone into the schools and provided our ABA therapy in the classrooms. We've done community settings as well. Some clients their biggest need might be to just be having appropriate behaviors in the community. So we can do things with them in that setting as well. Early childhood to young adults, like I said, very wide age range. We service all of these clients regardless of their age. And then parent training is another great thing that comes along with ABA. This is typically done by that board certified behavior analyst, but something to keep in mind that we do like to work really closely with the families. So things are like we can be collaborating with the family as well, and they can have those consistent programming and ABA techniques being done in the home with the family. And then also, since we do in clinic, something kind of fun to know about and if you could be a part of is this Apple Academy program that we have. So our clients that come to us during the day at our clinics typically attend this program that's a early and intensive intervention program for the younger clients. So typically our younger clients around 2 to 7 are with us in the mornings or at early afternoons. And this kind of just mirrors an early intervention center, early childhood center. They are still getting the one-on-one attention. They work one-on-one with our technicians, but then there's that collaborative environment. They get different group instruction opportunities. They do like circle time. They do motor activities. They have like a lunch and a snack time. During circle, they do the days of the week. What's the weather today? They sing songs, all that fun stuff. So it's great, especially for our clients that sometimes might transition from our center to maybe a neurotypical regular daycare center. And then, yeah, I think I got pretty much everything on this slide. So we can hop to the next slide. We don't have to watch both of these. I'll just tell you guys about them a little bit. So these are just some techniques, some things that some of our clients work on. There's something called discrete trial training. So this is when you work with the clients at the table. You can see in the picture, there's some flashcards there. So it's very specific to them. They might be working on imitation, so imitating and copying their technician, identifying objects, identifying different colors. So this is a little bit more of a pretty strict schedule here a little bit more. So whereas in the net, where it says over on the right side, that's the natural environment. So they're out in the play area, working with different toys and games, but incorporating all of that programming into all the play that they're doing. So those are just the kind of the two different settings. Most of our clients get a little bit of both of this, some of the table time and then some of the natural environment. So creating different opportunities to work their programming and learning into what they're doing. And then that is really all I had right now to go over. Like I said, we have that behavior technician position that we're hiring for in multiple locations. We do have a website, and on our website is all of our positions in all of our different regions. We have multiple openings in Illinois. We also have a clinic in Austin, Texas. We're opening in Denver, Colorado, and we're also hiring in Columbia, Missouri. So the main one, we have lots of different opportunities in Illinois, around the Chicago suburbs, and the northern suburb as well. But that behavior technician, like I said, it is an entry-level position. There's tons of training that is provided. The only requirement is being at least 18 years old with a GED completed. And we're just looking for people who are really, really excited to help others, work with individuals with disabilities, provide them this therapy, and motivate them towards their goals. So that's all I have right now.
Thank you so much for that presentation, Tammy. At this point, we will go ahead and kind of transition into the Q&A portion. The first question that I have for you, and it's actually one that I get obviously frequently on a lot of these events, given the nature or the state of the world as it is, how has the COVID-19 pandemic, how has that kind of affected the nature of your work, as far as your employees? Do you provide them, with PPE? How are you maintaining social distance requirements, so on and so forth?
Absolutely. That is a very, very common question for me as well. I get that in just about every other one of my phone interviews that I do. So obviously, I think there is not a company or area that was not affected by COVID, but we at the end have been lucky. We didn't have to really slow down too much at the beginning. Obviously, things are very uncertain. Families of ours were a little confused what to do, but we are an essential business. So we stayed open all throughout the pandemic with everything that's going on. We've just obviously had to add on some additional precautions. The first one being back in March, we've been taking people's temperatures before they come in since March. So everyone's staff, clients, everyone that has been coming into our building has been having their temperature taken. I think that's pretty common pretty much everywhere now, but we are doing that. And then another big change we made since we have our clients come to the clinics, we used to have the families bring them in. We have like a lobby area in most of our locations where they come into the office and drop them off. So a big change we made was all of the families stay in their cars in the parking lot, and our staff go out to the parking lot to get the child. So they take their temperature in the car. They ask the parents a few different questions. Have you been in contact with anyone with COVID? Have you had any of these symptoms in your home? So with each parent going through all of those questions. And then when the child comes in, hand washing immediately. And there is whatever PPE you would need. There's masks all provided. Everything is given to them. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult to for the 6 feet of distance. I mean, with children especially, but everyone is encouraged to keep their distance. Our clinics definitely allow for distance between everyone, but with children, I mean, you just have to understand it's going to be a little bit different of a situation. So just being very aware of your surroundings, who's close by you, how close you are to each other. I know since we do work at the tables with the clients, keeping them separate from other people, scattering them a little bit. I know even some of our clinics, we've expanded into like the unit next to us to allow for a little bit more space, give people space for working in the office on different tasks and things like that. So just taking those extra precautions, we have a cleaning service that comes regularly, a professional cleaning service, along with the staff that we already had cleaning daily. So keeping everything clean, sanitized, and then encouraging everyone to be washing their hands, keeping distance, and wearing a mask.
Fantastic. Thank you for that thorough response, Tammy.
Mm-hmm.
kind of, transitioning into a next question that I have for you. How can a candidate stand out and get an interview, assuming they are qualified for the position that they are applying for?
That is a great question as well. I really like that question because not that it's not difficult to stand out, but a few things that do stand out to me, like I said, there's not exactly certain requirements, a certain degree we're looking for or experience. We truly just want people who are really excited about this. They're really going to be passionate and want to come back to work every day. I always say we've had Starbucks baristas be our best staff members, the ones who are really have their whole heart into this position. So especially when I'm going through resumes, people who include a cover letter, if you don't already have experience on your resume with children at all, if you include a cover letter on there, just to talk about, you know what, I don't have the background experience in this yet, but this is something that I truly think I would love. I have a neighbor with autism. I have a brother or sister. I volunteered in high school and loved the program that I was in. Anything as simple as that will make someone stand out. And then specifically, if they get that phone interview, just expressing their enjoyment for working with children, their love for helping others, their want to work with individuals with disabilities. That's really all we're looking for. Of course, specific experience. I have a background or a degree in education or psychology, or I have worked in school in a special education classroom, anything like that, that's obviously going to stand out. But we're really just looking for people at the end of the day who truly want to be there. So if you can express that in any way, regardless of what your resume says, then you're going to be a top candidate for us.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tammy. And kind of like building off of that question, actually, I do have another one for you that I like to ask all of the employers, that I do events with. And that is, what are the opportunities for advancement within your organization? And then perhaps you might be able to reference a specific success story, and perhaps that could even be your own.
Absolutely. So we have multiple opportunities for growth, especially if you're starting out as a behavior technician, going through the training. Even if you don't want to go back to school and get that master's, we offer a few other more leadership positions, one being the RBT manager. So that is the manager for those RBTs in that region for those technicians. We also have a clinic manager and assistant clinic manager that just run the day-to-day tasks of the clinic. They help with lunch breaks, coverage, especially right now, keeping things organized, clean, sanitized. Like I said, just running those day-to-day tasks of the clinic. We love to provide growth and promotions to our staff. And a perfect example would be myself. I actually started as a behavior technician. I was working with the kids on the clinical side for about a year and a half. And then I wanted to look into more of an administrative position. So I started out as an administrative assistant. And then I moved into the RBT manager. And now here I am on the hiring side of things, the recruitment side, as our talent acquisition manager. So I myself, I've been with the company 4.5 years now. So tons of growth. I have learned so much over the years, and I have this company all to thank for.
Fantastic. Thank you for that response, Tammy. And I do have another question for you that I don't believe was, covered in your presentation, but the question is, what are some of the standard benefits that your organization offers? And then maybe you could even elaborate on that further by maybe, providing some examples of fringe benefits as well that you might offer.
Yeah, another great question I would love to answer because that's always something I like to talk about when we are discussing employment with our potential candidates, because we do have fantastic benefits. For even our part-time staff, we offer paid time off, and for all of our staff, there's a continuing education allowance for each year. So depending on your position, you get a certain amount of money to put towards any kind of continuing education that would benefit your role, and then also like a certain amount of hours that you can take that is paid for. And then for our full-time staff, health, dental, vision insurance. We also offer a 401k with a 4% match, short-term disability, maternity leave, And then I'm trying to think what else we have. Right now we have 9 holidays that we have off, which one is your birthday. So for those staff that are eligible for our paid holidays, they do get to pick a day for their birthday along with those on top of that 8 other holidays. So a total of 9 holidays. But then, yeah, all of the other for full-time staff, all the other benefits you would typically get in a full-time position.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tammy. And can you elaborate a little bit more on your shifts? When does like a typical day shift start?
Yes, absolutely. So it's tough to say, like it's not a typical 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. So that is something to keep in mind for those wanting to go into a field like this one. We are flexible with our clients. Our hours are typically anywhere from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. So we offer services in between those hours, but for the behavior technician, the requirement is working 2 evenings. And then schedules are consistent from week to week. So that's another plus, even though it's not that typical 9 to 5, you're still going to get a consistent schedule each week. So for example, you see clients 2 to 3 hours at a time. So especially full-time staff, probably see anywhere from 2 to 4 clients a day. And then when you see those clients is the same from week to week. So if you have a client Monday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 12, you see that client each week. We also offer services on Saturdays, typically in the mornings, but then Sundays we're closed. So there would be no hours scheduled on Sundays, just Monday through Friday. During the week, expect to have 2 evenings, working as late as 7 o'clock, and then seeing multiple clients throughout the day, but then having that consistent schedule, seeing those clients at the same times each week.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tammy. The next question that I do have for you is kind of a different one, but it's one that I get quite frequently. And I'm assuming, working in the industry that you do, there might be some restrictions on this. The question is, do you have any restrictions on tattoos, hair color, or piercings?
Another fantastic question. These are questions that I get so often. We don't have many restrictions on that. I always say, I think our CEO has like a sleeve of tattoos. We're not going to make any decisions dependent on that. Hair color, not a problem. We just ask, of course, if it's something inappropriate, if you have an inappropriate tattoo of some kind, to have that covered up.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And then a final question that I have for you, just wanted a little bit more clarification on. Are there any options for working remotely that you guys do have in place? Do some of your technicians, for instance, do they conduct Zoom calls or anything like that, or is it all in person?
So right now we're providing all of our services in person. During the beginning of COVID, we did a little bit of what's called telehealth. It wasn't super beneficial to our clients just because since they do have a disability, they might not have the skill level to be paying attention the whole time in a Zoom call. So we tried that for a little while. We aren't doing that anymore. All of our clients actually have come back full-time in person. So the behavior technician position is all in person.
Awesome. Thank you for that clarification, Tammy. At this point, I believe we'll go ahead and kind of wrap up this session here. I do want to give you one more opportunity to, give a summary statement, perhaps include any information that you feel maybe you left out during your presentation, or maybe anything that you would just like to add additional clarification to.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, overall, regardless of where you're looking to go, if you want to be in the realm of education, if you want to go into social work, any other kinds of therapies, this is a great place to start. If you're just, I want to work with kids, I want to help others, that's really the criteria we're looking for. So this is a great place to gain a little bit more experience. I learned so much, and I'm continuing to learn so much from the company, but I learned so much working with our clients, being on the clinical side, being a technician. I can't even sum up how much I learned through that and what great experience it was. So just keeping in mind that, like I said, we're not looking for a specific degree, a specific experience. Just putting yourself out there and really expressing how much you want to be in a helping field, working with individuals with disabilities. If that's something you're passionate about, then this is definitely the right place for you.
Fantastic. Thank you, Tammy. And I want to thank you again for your presentation here today. Before we wrap up, I just do want to make a note. This session has been recorded and it will be uploaded to the Illinois WorkNet YouTube channel later today. So you can view this information there. A link to that video will also be posted on the Behavioral Perspective employer booth later this afternoon as well. Thank you again for attending. Tammy, thank you so much for your presentation. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, Daniel. You as well.
Thank you.